Riley, wait. All right, so I'm just coming back to touch the sign to make sure not missing any steps. So this is where Riley and I made it to last night. Riley, this way. And then we walked that way to get to the parking lot. And we spent the night in Rutland at the Yellow Deli. Got a ride from Mr. Plans Too Much. This is US Route 4 here. Had a good night last night. Come on, Riley. Riley, come on, man. Riley, come on, let's cross. This is our time. Hold up, now we can't cross. We can cross now. And we are continuing on with the hike. Riley, you're such a strong boy. You're such a strong boy. All right, so today is Saturday, August 31st, and day number 121 of our through hike. That blue sign is a sign for the Catamount Ski Trail, Catamount Cross Country Ski Trail. Riley, hold up, buddy. Hold up, sir. Let me go first. I have new shoes. Look at my flashy new shoes here. I got these at the Walmart. They're gonna get nice and muddy today. So it feels great to have new shoes. Yeah, so it was great to stay at the Yellow Deli last night. Very nice. There were a few other hikers there. I had a bed to sleep in. Riley stayed on the porch. It's really the balcony, I should say the balcony. It was a balcony that was connected off with the kitchen in the back of the building. And I put his pad out there for him to sleep on. And it had like it was open at the top, but it had, you know, a barrier on all the sides of it, so he was secure, and it was high enough that he wasn't going to jump and get away. Bear country. And I got in. Hold up, buddy. It was already dark last night when we got to the parking lot, so it was great that Mr. Plans was able to pick us up and give us a ride in on short notice. I definitely spent too much time up on Killington Peak, and then after getting down I spent some time talking with Gravy at the at Cooper Shelter, which is right basically there's Cooper Shelter and there's the side trail that leads up to Killington. They're right at the same place. So it wasn't until like 5:30 before I started leaving that general area to hike down to US Route 4, and I had like exactly 6.3 miles to go, leaving at 5:30, which is a long way. I slept in a bunk room last night with there were several other bunk beds. They came with pillows and comfy mattresses and no blankets, but it was a heated room, so it was plenty warm. And I stayed up pretty late last night because I spent a good amount of time getting food and eating, and didn't get to bed until about 2 a.m. And then I got up pretty early. I got up at like 6:30 and went to the Walmart. Had a good dinner last night. I was planning to go to the so I missed the Friday evening celebration dinner. They apparently started at like 6 p.m. So if I had planned it better, and you know, just try and planned it better over the, I mean, I really definitely worked hard to try to get there by Friday. But if I had worked just a little bit harder, I could have gotten in a few hours earlier and been able to go to the celebration dinner. But alas, it was not to be. But I was able to talk to another hiker who was able to attend and experience it vicariously through him. So it's fine. I'm just glad we were able to go to the hostel in the first place and take care of all of our, you know, necessity needs. All the primary things that I needed to take care of. So I didn't go to the grocery store last night because we got in so late, and they locked the doors to the hostel at 10 p.m. they said, and so I didn't want to risk getting locked out. But fortunately they did have some food in the kitchen that was free for the taking, that I was able to have for dinner. Riley, you are just pulling. Let's just take it easy, man. Nice and easy, Riley. We're just starting the day here. Anyway, so yeah, so it was just nice getting there last night and being able to relax and know that we're gonna be able to take care of all the things that I wanted to take care of. It was a big relief to, especially when I was able to call Mr. Plans and secure the ride to get in. I felt much better after being able to do that. And so the Walmart opened at 6 a.m. this morning, and it's not visible right from where the hostel is, but it's literally right around the corner. So I just walked down the street this morning and was glad to see the big open parking area and walked right in, so it wasn't hard to get there. And I was able to get 2 new micro SD cards. Got the 512 gigabyte size, so I have a total of 1 terabyte of space now, which is a good amount of space. And of course I got my hiking shoes. Threw my other hiking shoes away. I would have taken a picture of the hiking shoes before I threw them away, but I didn't have a chance to swap out the new SD card before doing that, so I ended up just throwing them away without taking a picture. But yeah, they were in bad shape. And I was pressed for time because they started the breakfast, which they give to hikers, at 7:30 a.m. So I was kind of pressed for time. So I just decided to do my resupply at the Walmart instead of trying to go to the Price Chopper grocery store. And yeah, I was able to get everything I needed at the Walmart. It is apparently a slimmed down Walmart, but they still had a lot of stuff. They still had a good food selection. They didn't have a fresh produce selection like a lot of Walmarts do, but they had plenty of, I mean, for a hiker, they had basically everything I needed. They have basically lots of packaged foods, and they did have some frozen foods, but no ice cream or anything. All right, Riley, let's go, buddy. Come on. So I ended up getting a 6-pound bag of dog food, which is the same size that I got the last time for a bigger mileage. But now I have fewer miles to cover until the next resupply, so that just means I can try to feed Riley extra. So yeah, so I have plenty of dog food, and I replenished my supply of oatmeal, replenished my supply of peanut butter, and I got some raisins and some honey roasted peanuts that I can add to my peanut butter, to my oatmeal. And I got some double chocolate chip bagels. And then there was another hiker that decided she had too much stuff and she unloaded a bunch of stuff in the kitchen just early this morning, and she unloaded a lot of good stuff. So I picked up some goodies from what she unloaded. Some sweet items, including like cocoa roasted almonds. Yeah, lots of good stuff. So I'm well stocked on food. And I was able to charge all my devices last night. My power banks, my phone, my GoPro batteries, my 2 rechargeable headlamps. So that was great. Got a great night's sleep, even though I didn't get to sleep for a very long amount of time. Just being able to sleep on the comfy mattress, the soft mattress, was wonderful. It was nice not having to break down my tent or pack up my tent this morning. And the breakfast that they served was wonderful this morning. They made chocolate granola, and they had a bowl of fresh berries, and they had whole milk, and they served coffee and tea for people that like that. I had some tea. Come on, Riley. And then Mr. Plans picked me up came by at 9:30 to pick me up and take me back to the trail. I needed a little extra time, but that wasn't a problem for him, so he probably ended up leaving around 10 a.m. And then when I got back to the trail, I sat down for a bit and needed to spend some time opening up my SD card and putting it in my camera, and fed some food to Riley. So it's probably like 11:30 right now, which is not atypical for a start for us. So anyway, so that's pretty much the update. We're back on the trail. The big thing is I have new shoes. That's wonderful. I was in desperate need of new shoes, so that's taken care of. And now we're just hiking north. We're gonna get to Main, this place called Main Junction, pretty soon, which is the point on the trail where the Appalachian Trail and the Long Trail. What in the world are you doing, Riley? What in the world are you doing? It's the point on the trail where the AT and the LT diverge, and the AT branches off to the east and ends up going into New Hampshire, and the LT Long Trail branches off to the left, I guess, and continues through Vermont up to the Canadian border. What are you doing, Riley? Come on, man. Come on, man. Okay. It wasn't Riley's favorite thing to sleep on the porch last night. He was he would have preferred to come inside and be with us, but he did settle down eventually, and fortunately it was not a it was much warmer last night, so he was comfortable outside. Yeah, so all in all, a great experience at the Yellow Deli, and nothing but good things to say about them. The restaurant apparently, yeah, it is closed for renovations, and I inquired about when it's going to be reopened, and seems like not anytime soon. It seems like they have some significant work to be done on like one of the walls in the back. So the person I asked wasn't sure about the timeline as far as when it's going to reopen. So that's all for starting the day here. And I did try to look up what the elevation gain was on the side trail from the AT up to the peak of Killington yesterday, since I had Wi-Fi access, but I wasn't able to find it. It doesn't seem like an easy statistic to look up, so, but it was extremely steep based on what I saw yesterday. All right, so this is Main Junction, Willard Gap. LT to the left, got a white blaze. AT to the right, also white blazed. So we go to the right here. Very good. Riley and I are ascending a mountain called Quimby Mountain currently. It is the biggest ascent of the day. Before this, we've actually ascended a good chunk of this. I believe, according to my guidebook, it's about 1.3 miles uphill. Pretty steep. Looks pretty steep according to the elevation profile in my guidebook. And it seems steep as well as we're hiking it. But the trail is pretty pleasant. Like, it's, as you can see here, it's mostly dirt, a few rocks and roots. Pretty typical. Not as challenging terrain as the crazy side trail that we did yesterday, 0.2 miles up to get to the top of Killington. Prior to this, we had a very pleasant stretch of trail to start the day. We got to Main Junction. That was the first mile after US Route 4. And then, come on, big guy. And then from there, like, I mean, most of the trail has been, packed dirt. No rock scrambles, nothing overly rocky. But prior to this, the elevation profile has been pretty level. And we were going through a big area of well-populated areas prior to ascending this Quimby Mountain here. Riley, what are you doing? Urgh. Yeah, so we got to Main Junction, and then after that, we got to this place called Sherburne Pass Trail, which leads a half mile to an inn, which is called the Inn at Long Trail, which is a popular lodging spot in the Killington area, and it caters to hikers and weekenders and people that want to get close to the trail and enjoy the outdoors. So that brings in a lot of people. And after that, we got to this place called Kent Pond, which was a nice big pond, and the AT kind of skirted around it. Actually, before that, we got to Gifford Woods State Park, and there were lots of tent sites, campsites for people that do car camping as opposed to backpacking, where they drive out for a vacation and set up their tents at a campsite, but because they're driving out, they can bring out lots of stuff. So we got to Gifford Woods State Park. We walked through it. We got to this place called Kent Pond shortly after that. Kind of a fishing area, big pond, lots of people. That was near the actual town of Killington. Riley, chop chop, chop chop, chop chop. So we saw lots of people in those areas, all throughout those areas. Riley, come on, man. I don't know why you're looking back. Plus today's a Saturday, so more chances for people to be out here. Oh, and it's also Labor Day weekend. I forgot about that. So that brings out more people as well. But anyway, so it's kind of nice to, it's nice to see people. Definitely nice to see people. But it's also nice to have the trail to ourselves. And so now we have the trail back to ourselves, or it feels like we have the trail back to ourselves. And looking up the sky up there, it's been kind of clouded over all day. So yesterday, actually, when I was up on the top of Killington, I heard some of the people up there talking about the chance of rain today. And then I heard people talking about it again at the hostel last night. So far, the rain has held off, but I can see why there's a chance of rain today, because the clouds have been out all day long. So I've had an uneasy feeling the whole day that it could rain at any point. It's almost like the sky is taunting me or laughing at me, saying, ha ha ha, I can ruin your day at any point. Anyway, so far I'm thankful that we haven't had to deal with a ton of rain. That's really the biggest variable that could make things very difficult for us, is just having to deal with bad weather. It has been fairly warm today, actually, so I've been sweating a lot, actually, and even though it hasn't rained, my shirt is wet with sweat. All right, I should just keep walking, and Riley will follow. In this kind of situation, it's better for me to lead and keep walking, and Riley will follow. Because Riley is awesome. I think we've done about 6.5 miles so far on the day. Somewhere around there. Making progress, one step at a time. One of the bags of goodies that I picked up at the hostel this morning from one of the hikers that donated some of her excess food to the hiker box was a bag of chocolate covered almonds. So I started snacking on those at our last... Riley, what are you doing? We just took a break. Plus, it could rain at any point. So I was enjoying the chocolate covered almonds. I still have a good amount of them. Part of me doesn't understand why people give away such good food. Why don't you want that food? It's so good. I love chocolate. And chocolate covered almonds are like, oh my goodness, Riley. Are like a really good combination because it gives you the nice taste of chocolate. But for a chocoholic like myself, Riley, what are you doing? It helps to prevent me from like overdosing on chocolate because it only gives me like a little bit with each almond, and it gives me something healthy in addition to the chocolate. And the almond helps to fill me up. So anyway, it seems like I'm able to avoid like eating too much chocolate. Whereas if I had just like chocolate chips or straight chocolate, I would eat it much too quickly. I'm still eating the chocolate covered almonds pretty quickly, but at least I'm kind of getting the same amount of taste benefit, but also getting other nutritional benefits from the almonds. Anyway, so hopefully the rain continues to hold off and we're able to hike in peace without having to fight the weather in addition to fighting the trail. I've not heard any thunder yet, so that's a good thing. All right, look what we have here. So we just, Riley, hold up, buddy. We just hit the 10-mile mark on the day. We passed by the side trail to Stony Brook Shelter, and we have a ladder here to help us descend, which is great for me, but not so great for Riley. I don't think he cares to use ladders. I was able to call my parents, so I definitely remember this place from my 2018 hike because it was like, whoa, there's a ladder in the middle of the woods. What in the world is that doing there? Well, I see what it's doing there, but it's quite a surprise. Not something you would expect if you didn't know it was coming. And I actually called my parents last night when I was at the hostel, and my dad has done a lot of research on areas that might be difficult for Riley to get through, to try to help us and warn us and figure out ways to help us be successful. And he actually warned me about this ladder, and he said there's a way you can just go to the left, which it seems like we can, right? So this is really steep. It doesn't look like there's any good way or easy way down with Riley, so we'll just go to the left. Seems like, come on, buddy, let's figure this out here, Riley. Me first, Riley. Hold up, buddy. Hold up, Riley. Hold up. Still not super easy. Hold up, Riley. Especially with all these branches here, but I think we can kind of finagle our way. Riley, oh, Riley's like, this is a good spot to plop down here. All right, what do we got here? I really should just throw my poles down first. Hold up, buddy. Riley, wait. Hold up, Riley. Hold up, buddy. All right, I'm gonna throw my poles right down there. It's starting to rain a little bit. And now, this is definitely tricky here, but looks like there is some promise. Riley will be able to get down this no problem. This is just hard for, this is harder for me than for Riley. Hold up, buddy. And Riley is already behind me. He's like, that was no problem at all. Hold up, buddy. There we go. All right. Success. Success, success. Thank you for your help, ladder. And we are down. No problem at all. Hold up, buddy. Up we go, Riley. Hold up, buddy. Hold up. So, the rain seems like it's fairly light, so, and it's not cold out right now. It's fairly mild temperatures, so if the rain gets harder, I will stop, open my pack up, and get our rain gear on. But as long as it stays light like this, I think I'll just continue to hike, and I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. I don't know what time it is. I know it's getting close to dark, but we still have light, so I and Riley, we are going to continue to hike and try to chip away, and get closer to Mount Katahdin. Hold up, buddy. As always, I am looking forward to getting to our campsite when we eventually get there, and doing some reading, among other things. Give Riley some food, give me some food. I'm actually more thirsty right now. I've been snacking on some good snacks that I got at the hostel. The chocolate covered almonds and a few other nice snacks. Some Cliff Block gels, which are nice, are like energy chews. Basically like electrolytes in gummy form as opposed to drink form. A couple micro size energy bars. Thank you, Riley. What? You're telling me you want a break? Oh, buddy, I know. Boom. I was talking about the chocolate covered almonds earlier, and I was thinking I can just summarize what I was saying by, I like chocolate. I like chocolate in any form, every form, all forms chocolate. They're all good. And it reminded me of the Forrest Gump movie where the guy, I don't remember his name, Bubba maybe? I don't know. The guy's talking about shrimp, and he just talks about shrimp everything. Well, I like chocolate everything. Chocolate is wonderful. Chocolate covered almonds, chocolate covered raisins, chocolate chips, chocolate ice cream, double chocolate ice cream, chocolate Moose Tracks ice cream. Anyway, I finished the chocolate almonds. So I feel like what I was saying, it didn't really help me to eat it slower, the fact that it was almonds. It was just less chocolate, but it was still very delicious. All right, Mr. Riley, you're so beautiful. Riley, it's gonna get dark soon. All right, It is that time of day again where Riley and I are in our tent, and I want to close out the day. So we made it 3.3 miles past Stony Brook Shelter. It got dark around 7:30, and it was starting to get dark earlier than that. It was basically starting to get dark like very shortly after we left the shelter. And we got off to an early start, but it was at the hostel. So by the time we got on trail, it was probably but by the time we actually started hiking, it was probably after 11 a.m. So that's a pretty late start. And we ended up hiking in the dark for a good bit. I was getting ready to want to get to a campsite, but there really weren't any good campsites for about for a good long stretch. And we're not even at a good campsite right now. I just was able to find a flat spot in the woods. The next reliable campsite is actually 1.3 miles ahead at this road called Chateau Guay Road. But we got here probably about 10 or so. It's like 10:45 right now. It did start sprinkling, raining lightly, basically, earlier as we were hiking in the dark. And for a time, it actually got really foggy, and the visibility was rather poor. But fortunately, that the fog didn't last super long, and the rain also didn't get super heavy, and it stopped at this point. So I was able to set the tent up without it getting wet, which was very good. Part of the reason we hiked as far as we did is I didn't have any water. I was trying to not carry very much water because my pack is already quite heavy. And so I wanted to get to a water source. I knew that from the far out comments, I knew that there was a water source 2.5 miles after Stony Brook Shelter. Or I'm sorry, 2.5 miles after something else, after the last water source. So that there was a water source like 0.6 of a mile after the shelter, which I did not fill up at. And then after that, another 2.5 miles until the next water source. And I guess I was thinking that we'd be able to get there a little bit easier than we did. So I didn't fill up at the previous water source. So I'm thirsty. I'm not super thirsty, but I am thirsty. And I really wanted to be able to drink some drink mix tonight. And so there were some spots that I probably could have set the tent up in, even though they weren't ideal. But it would have meant we wouldn't have had any water, which would have been okay, but I really wanted to get some water. So we made it to the next water source, which was 1.5 miles from the next reliable campsites at Chateau Guay Road. And then we hiked another 0.2 miles, and I was looking for campsites left and right. I basically, after getting to the water, I was ready to take anything as a campsite, and I was able to find a little depression off to the trail, not too far away. That seems to work. I was able to get the tent set up, and we are in here, so that's wonderful. And yeah, we'll be able to have a good night and get some good sleep. We are currently at mile number 1721.6, and US Route 4, where we started the hiking day, was 1708.2. So we hiked a total of 13.4 miles today. Would have been a bit lower if we hadn't done the night hiking that we did. Seems like we do night hiking every night. Anyway, it's also just getting darker much earlier than it was earlier in the hike. So my shoes are working out quite nicely so far. I don't know that I mentioned, they were only $28 at Walmart. So Walmart has some good stuff. It'll be interesting to see how these shoes continue to hold up as I continue to put them through the ringer on the Appalachian Trail. Today there weren't that many rocks to. The terrain was relatively nice today, so it was a nice, easy kind of break-in day for the shoes, and they're still relatively clean, so that's good. I'm sure they're going to get dirty very soon, but yeah, I like them. They're definitely better than the shoes that I had previously, being in such bad shape. They're definitely an improvement over those shoes, and it feels great to hike in them. My knee issue with my right knee, I haven't talked about that in a little while. It's still giving me discomfort, but I do feel it's definitely, I do feel it's improved compared to earlier in the week. So I feel like it's trending in the right direction. I feel like it's just going through the process of what it needs to heal up. So that's definitely encouraging, and hopefully that will continue. And I was thinking a lot about the Yellow Deli earlier today, since I stayed there last night, and they do everything for free for hikers. They do accept donations, but it's basically they just do it because they want to do it. That they're part of their belief system, or part of the way they operate, is that everything is communal. Like they don't. They do have families. Like they have men and women are married to each other, and they'll have kids. But each kind of group, like this place in Rutland, it's not the only location. But for each group, it's basically centered around a farm, and they have a farm where they grow whatever they're able to grow, and all that food is used by the organization, and it's shared among. It's not used solely by the group that maintains the farm. It's shared with other groups around the country, wherever they're located. And but within each group at a particular geographic location, for example, in Rutland, the families don't just eat dinner by themselves or individually. Like everything is communal. So they prepare the meals. Well, they have particular people that are kind of tasked with different responsibilities. So they have certain people that prepare the meals, and my understanding is they rotate responsibilities. But as far as eating, they generally eat all together. I only got to see a couple of the people. I got to see two of the men, and one of the men had two of his daughters with him this morning for the hiker breakfast. And just in terms of, you know, how they treat the hikers, it's just wonderful. It's they don't have to be so generous. They're extremely generous in terms of what they provide with the hostel and the meals for all of the AT hikers. And yeah, that's very lucky for the hikers that they do all this. And I think I'd like to, I mean, I don't have any definite plans, but I think it would be nice if I could go back at some point and so before I say this, they offer like hikers to come out to their farm and like for a day or so, or longer if they want to, and work on the farm. And they need the help, so that they're not. It's not just a tour. It's they can give hikers like actual responsibility in terms of tasks that need to be completed, and it's cool for the hikers to be able to help out and experience kind of a different way of life. And that's one way that the hikers can kind of, in addition to donating money, that's one way that they can kind of repay what they've been offered in terms of the stay and the food that they've been given. And so I declined the offer to go to the farm because Riley and I need to continue to make progress on the hike. So we left today in the morning, but I think it would be awesome to go back at some point and take them up on their offer to work on the farm. I'm not sure how Riley would play into the equation. The person that I spoke with that didn't seem to think that it would be a problem if I had Riley. It doesn't seem like there's any other dogs around, so I would just need to make sure he's secure and not bothering any of the other animals. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to go back at some point and try to repay some of the generosity that they've provided to us. And in addition to us, like, you know, however long we would go back for, we would get meals, and they would provide lodging for us, obviously. So it seems like a fun thing to do. And they have other locations. They actually have a location near Harper's Ferry as well, which is closer to where I might be living after the trail. So yeah, just stuff to think about. But anyway, that's for the future. Hike is going fine still. Riley is in the tent now. He was snoring earlier, and he's getting his rest in. So we're going to have a good night, as we always do. And I will say good night. Hope everyone is doing well, and we will check in tomorrow for the first day of September. Okay, bye for now.